And now I kind of want to dive a little bit more deeper in being honest to workers. And that's really what that's what part of this stream is about. And when I say this is the case against the Democratic Party, this is RBN being honest with workers about the Democratic Party. So where's that banner for that? Right here. We must be honest with workers about the Democratic Party. And let's go through a couple of quick hitting receipts. This first one is from the Majority Report, and let's play.
It is deleterious, according to him, to have progressives in the Democratic Party because it gives people hope that the Democratic Party can be reformed, and he doesn't want that.
He doesn't want that. I would rephrase it to say he understands that that's not going to happen. It is counterproductive to have leftists in the Democratic Party. It is counterproductive because it does give the illusion that you have somebody working in the inside when you do not. That is a correct assessment. So what's dumb about that? Let's pause here and ask a couple of things. What's dumb about not supporting the Democratic Party that funds genocides, that is corporately bought? Like, what's dumb about that? Like, literally the same. Understand where I say what's dumb about not supporting a party that funds genocide. This video was done over a year ago, before the current genocide. I wish we had a conversation going on during that time to find out if genocide would be somebody's red line in the pseudo left, the NATO left. Because you got to get them to give you their red lines before they happen. Now, genocide would not be their red line. Sam Cedar has already said it in a more current video where he says that he's going to vote for Joe Biden. Vote for Genocide Joe, basically. Let's continue with the video. I would say 80% of the reason you say, most of the liberals say they don't support Republicans, 80%, Democrats do the same thing. Very, very true. So that is Sam Cedar making the point
on Tucker Carlson show
about, and I believe it was Jimmy Dore. He's saying Jimmy Dore saying that having leftists in government is counterproductive, and I'm agreeing with the point. I'll give further sort of explanation. If you have somebody, if people believe that AOC, Bernie Sanders is in there working for them, then those same people won't work as hard to get things done because they have a representative doing the work for them. So it's kind of disarming to have somebody in a space projecting that they're doing your policy work when they're not. So we can go that way, or we can say it this way, and I would say it more this way. We don't have people who are on the left in the Democratic Party. We have people who are neoliberals who pretend that they have policy beliefs that align with the left. That is AOC. That is Ilhan Omar. That is, I mean, you can't say that's not a correct description as they vote to send money to Ukraine, as they vote for the Iron Dome, as they vote for supporting Israel. You can't say that that's not the case. Let's move on to the next item here in our being honest with the workers and the illusion of hope, I guess you can say also. So this next one is a video on, are the Democrats executing progressive plans or Democratic plans? So if you're a progressive, if you're a person who wants to vote for the Democratic Party, this is the question, or this is a video that you must see. and then I forget the debate. I was debating somebody, and they were saying, "Oh, I'm voting in AOC because their policy beliefs align with mine." And my response was this video is, why does it matter who you're voting in, what their policy beliefs are? Doesn't it matter what the Democratic Party's beliefs? Aren't they executing the party's belief? They're not executing AOC's belief. If you voted for AOC, if you voted for Jamal Bowman, he aligns with my beliefs. Is the Democratic Party executing Jamal Bowman's beliefs or their donors' beliefs? So let's listen to this video, then we'll move on to the next one here. Is the Democratic establishment, the Democratic Party, are they executing the Progressive Caucus's plans? Are they executing the Squad's plans? Are they executing Pramila Jayapal's plans, Jamal Bowman's plans, AOC's plans? Or are they executing Nancy Pelosi's plan given to her by corporate America? So you could tell me you believe in healthcare, but your team doesn't. Nancy Pelosi just came out and said defund the police is not the position of the Democratic Party. So then, as a black person, I would ask you, are you joining a team that's against defund the police candidate? Because if that's what you're doing, I can't fuck with you. That's the question I would ask. Because why would I help you join a team that's killing my community? Why would I do that? As someone who has solidarity with the Palestinians, why would I give you money to join a team that's bombing Palestinians, killing kids, women? This video is about a year old, more than that. Aged pretty well. Because we posed the same question. Even then, before the genocide. We're posing, RBN and Nick and Sab, we were posing the same questions, having the same hurdles, but you guys thought that, it's a single issue, Palestine. Remember that? All right, so let's move on to the, oops, I hit that mic. Let's move on to the next video. The next video is this one here. And what are my notes for this one? Let's go to now this video with Jan Perlman and Nina Turner, where they're discussing the slur of online left. It means, in other words, the dumb worker, people who don't have credentials. That's what they use, the online left. And nihilists, let's listen to this video when Nina Turner was on their show. Let's listen.
And I think that speaks very directly to one of the biggest issues that we saw, during a race, especially in the home stretch, which is the worst time to have, this dissension, if you will. You already have enough with the millions of dollars in the horrific ads that they were playing. The billboard, we remember that we saw when we were in Cleveland, calling you an anti-Semite and all that stuff. But then you have the other part of the equation, which is a sort of nihilistic movement with the online left that thinks that you can never do enough. I mean, I try to tell people you invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in a television ad in the Cleveland metro area saying that you support Medicare for all, and yet it wasn't enough that you did that. It's like, no, you have to come here and do this and that. And I'm just thinking there's too much of this. There's this huge problem on the left where there's this idea that I would rather be right than be effective. And that is something that I say this to anybody who's going to see this interview, and we know a lot of you will. So think about what that means in terms of what you want to accomplish going forward. If you have any aspirations of Medicare for all, a living wage, ending the wars, a Green New Deal, then you're going to have to swallow your pride in some instances and recognize that you're not going to get everything you want at once, but so long as the person in question is fighting on the side of workers and not corporate special interests, that is the winning play, period. And I'm curious if you have any thoughts on that, because that was something that really set us off.
No, I'm so sick of the purists. I'm so sick of them, the over woke damn purists. Like, if you don't agree with me, you say one thing, and then I'm going to keep
We were purists on Palestine. RBN are purists on Palestine, like what you call purists first. Let me not say that, but we were purists on that. Now, guess what? If you guys, the progressive Democrats, were purists on Palestine, where would we be right now? If you were purists like us, what we have 30,000 dead people in Palestine right now. If you were purists like us and stood on your ground with Palestine and didn't back down and didn't vote for somebody who would do something like that, I would say being a purist in this context would be a great thing. But let's let her finish out this video here.
Side of workers and not corporate special interests.
Come on.
That is the winning play, period. And I'm curious if you have any thoughts on that, because that was something that really set us off.
No, I'm so sick of the purists. I'm so sick of them, the over woke damn purists. Like, if you don't agree with me, you say one thing, and then I'm going to keep these are people that are bitter. They decide they don't like you, and then they use everything to work backwards from their conclusion, and they will find every little nitpicky thing. That's not on my team. Like, you're not working on our team.
Well,
you're not seeking progress.
Well, to be fair, they're not on our team right now. That doesn't mean they couldn't ultimately be.
That's you're displaying behavior that is not team-like.
He's the one who reels her insanity back. Come back. You do want them in the future, so bring the insanity. Bring it down. Let me break down the first part of this video, and we'll move on.
And I think that speaks very directly to one of the biggest issues that we saw, during a race, especially in the home stretch, which is the worst time to have, this dissension, if you will. You already have enough with the millions of dollars in the horrific ads that they were playing. The billboard, we remember that we saw when we were in Cleveland, calling you an anti-Semite and all that stuff. But then you have the other part of the equation, which is a sort of nihilistic movement with the online left that thinks that you can never do enough.
Understand that anyone who uses the term online left is a part of the bourgeoisie class. That is meant to be a slur. Instead of saying dumb worker, uneducated person, you say online, meaning you're just a person online. You don't have any other sort of credentials. I don't need to listen to what you're saying because you're just online. It is meant as a slur. Now, let's get to this because they're talking about nihilism in the context of Nina Turner, because Nina Turner lost again. And they're saying, people didn't come out for her. That's basically the argument that they're making, is that they didn't come out for her because of nihilism. And what I would say to that is, I'm not going to say if, the expectation is that the Democrats can continue not to deliver and you to continue to support them. That's what progressive Democrats are begging all of us to do. Because, is that not? They're not doing anything on minimum wage. They're not doing anything on Palestine. They didn't do anything $15 minimum wage. Didn't do anything on climate change, but they're asking for your vote continuously. But let's continue to move on. I'll keep my comments short so we can get through some of this stuff here. So we got through that one. This next part here is now another argument can be for those Democrats who are saying, now let's vote for Joe Biden. Now is the time, and if you vote for us this time, we're going to do something about said issue. Let's address that with this video right here, because it wasn't too long ago, I'm old enough to remember that they just had the House, the Senate, and the executive branch. Let's listen to this video. They keep asking for your vote, telling you they're going to deliver this time. Yeah, I know all the other, cajillion times I didn't do it, but this time it's going to be different. Really? This time is going to be different. Are we still falling for this? even after they are in power. This is what's so almost like I feel sorry for this attempt to elect some of these non-corporate Democrats, because you have people, your team is in power now and it's terrible. You have enough progressives in office right now to affect most of the legislation that is voted on. What are they doing but voting present? That's who you want to donate your money to? You want to donate your money to somebody who's going to vote present? Or let's say they don't. What good is it that the person you voted in votes no on everything that you want to vote no on, but it passes by the team that the person you voted for is on? What does that mean? You voted in a good person on a terrible team, but the terrible team is winning. And we're seeing in this point that's made in this video, I can move on. You're not for a genocide, right, voter? But you voted in, but you supported the Democratic Party, who are now in doing things you don't want to have done. So again, what benefit do you get out of voting for Joe Biden? It's actually the opposite. It's not like you're voting and everything's neutral. You're voting for him and they're doing things against what your policy beliefs are, like a genocide in Palestine. But let's continue. Now let's go to this video with Nina Turner. And this is Nina Turner's bowl of shit comment. She refers to it in this video here. It's about a minute, a little more over a minute.
You gotta make
Let's
a choice.
listen.
I get it. Between a neo-fascist and a neoliberal. So I likened it to, and this is how I describe it. You got two bowls of shit in front of you. And you got to pick one. That's the situation we in right now. Bowl number one or bowl number two. But the rules of engagement are you got to pick one. The way for us not to have to continuously always choose between the lesser of the two evils is to do a new thing and make a new demand. Or we will find ourselves right back in this moment again with people fear-mongering about how you got to vote for them because the other one is worse. Now, in this case, Donald Trump is a threat, no doubt about it. But we need leaders who have vision to provide provision for the people and not just scare tactics to get us to vote for one candidate over another. What is your vision for this country? How you gonna lift people? What is gonna be different under you? Because I know some people feel like they got nothing to lose. They've been catching hell the whole entire time. And basically the people in the streets in my community, they're basically saying, what's a few more years of hell?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, we're not scared of a Trump presidency no more. Like, Trump derangement syndrome, it so does not work. You see that in the polls. If Trump derangement syndrome worked, he wouldn't be winning in 6 to 8 battleground states. Do you understand? I don't think there was a single poll that Donald Trump led ever outside of the margin of error in 2020. Meanwhile, he's already hit like a dozen, if you include the 6 to 8 battleground states and several national polls. So let it play all the way through. Now let's break it down.
You got to make a choice. I get it. Between a neo-fascist and a neoliberal. So I likened it to, and this is how I describe it. You got two bowls of shit in front of you. And you got to pick one. That's the
Let me let her finish.
situation we in right now. Bowl number one or bowl number two. But the rules of engagement are you got to pick one.
Then this is why a radical is needed. Because what does a radical not care about? Your fucking rules of engagement. See, if you have a NATO left, if you have a pseudo left person, they'll go, okay, those are the rules. All right, Am I supposed to stay in the lines? No, 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 no. No, sir. Ma'am, when I arrive and you present 2 bowls of shit, guess what I'm going to do? I'm knocking both bowls over. I'm not taking either one. I'm not falling in line at all. I'm creating my own shit. You get it? You get that joke? Creating my own shit? But yeah, this is why actually I'm not gonna say it that way. Let's let her continue.
The way for us not to have to continuously always choose between the lesser of the 2 evils is to do a new thing and make a new demand, or we will find ourselves right back in.
Or don't vote red or blue, or exit the duopoly. Exit the duopoly, and you never have to pick between 2 bowls of shit. Think of that. Think of it that way. If you vote green, vote for Jill Stein, not a bowl of shit. If you vote for Dr. West, not a bowl of shit. And if you're voting for RFK Jr., that means you like him, and for some reason. So in your opinion, you're not voting for a bowl of shit. I would not vote for RFK or any other independent. There's a couple of other independent candidates. Oh, Claudia. Not picking a bowl of shit. So you see how you don't have to pick a bowl of shit. The people who are telling you these are your only 2 options aren't telling you about all your options. And let's continue with the videos to the next one. And that's this one. You see all of us here, Sabby, JB. This video, JB explains what the fight is really about. What defines a victory? How we can be winning as a movement even if we're not winning policy demands every time. How do you define that? And JB is going to define that right now. They aren't proving that the strategy of electing non-corporate Democrats work. And that's the problem for the candidates right now, is that the squad is literally like tearing down any paths for any other progressives to get there right now in this specific, maybe in another election, but in 2022, I'm not sure. JB, what do you think about that?
Okay, so the problem with us isn't, I think they're trying to get as many victories as possible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And to us, the victory's in the fight. So it's just like, we don't care if you lose as long as you fight.
Right.
Including against your party. If you went down swinging, it's like, we'll be behind you. Be like, yes, you went down swinging. Good. You went up against them. Like, even if forced to vote failed, we would still be behind. How many of us would still be behind them if forced to vote actually happened? Even if they failed, we would still be like, yeah, we got some G's in the house. Let's go. Yes. You know, let's just get more of them. And then we would be like that.
And then they will be able to promote these candidates. Look, we just need a few more. Go ahead.
Yes. Thank you, CJ.
Yep.
But that's the thing. We don't see the fight. And that's part of the problem. Right. It's like, they're like, we're going to fight against the Democratic Party. And then next thing you know, they run away. And it's like, why are you running? You guys said that you guys wanted to fight. And that's one of the things that I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of us are just like, the hell with them, because we see them as, you know, like people in the country say, yellow belly.
That's JB with the great analogies, yellow belly. But the point of this, the major point that he made here is that the victory is in the fight. That's the victory. And it's such a point that misses the professional managerial class, misses academia. The victory is in the fighting part. But Shama Sawant understands this, and she understood this very well up there in Seattle. is that the fight is what inspires people. The fight. You don't have to have wins. That's such a professional managerial class thing where I got to have a plaque to show I completed something. I need a diploma. I need a degree. I need something to indicate I have completed a process. That's what they need. And they're willing to get anything, any little crumb. I'm completed. Here's my, participation award and crumbs. And we're saying the fight is the victory. And if you continue to fight, you're inevitably, in our opinion, to win. You may not win them all. All right, and let's go to this one with Nick. This is a great one with Nick. I'm gonna play nothing, no explanation needed. But you see our old name, Fred Hampton Leftists. You see the little banner in the top right-hand corner. That's our old logo, Fred Hampton Leftists. Let's continue.
I said it before my show. I didn't bear repeating. Fuck your unity. I want solidarity. Now, if you're okay with the squad funding the police more, that means you are not standing in solidarity with our community. That means you are demanding us to unify with people who don't have our best interests at heart. How are you any different than the white martyr that MLK has been warning us about? You are the white martyr MLK warned about. Geoff, Vosh, Human Report, TYT, all these people who had anything negative to say about this march. You are the white martyr that MLK warns about. And yes, I'm calling you out because I see this class divide on the left. These are people, and I notice this. These are the people who are super obsessed with theory. You see these people? Oh, you read this theory? You read this book, man? I didn't become a leftist through theory. I became a leftist because I live this shit. And there are people who they are so busy theorizing. They're like, oh, you gotta look at this theory. You gotta read what this person said, man. You gotta talk. You see what this person said. You gotta compare that to the other theory because it's just a game to them. It's just a book. It's just theories to them. Because at the end of the day, they'd be fine. At the end of the day, these people will be okay. So it's all about just theory for them. So they can't possibly wrap their mind around people like us, people who will actually die if these progressive policies don't get implemented, why we are so upset at these politicians. So it's really just a class analysis that so many people on the left is not even acknowledging. They just say this is drama. Oh, there's left infighting and there's a lot of drama. No, it's not. I've been talking about this. The left drama is literally the people who are loyal to the politicians who are mad at us for calling the politicians out. That's it. If you don't believe me, name one giant left debate that started outside of the guys, the people getting mad because we criticize our politicians. Forced to vote, marching for Medicare for all, whether we vote for Joe Biden or not. All of these left divisions are caused because people are still in love with electoral politics in the Democratic Party, and they are mad at people who are not.
Not mad at people who are not. They're mad at the post-duopolists because they need us to win these elections. You saw that with the Nina Turner election, and you're seeing it in the polling, at least with Joe Biden right now. But this is a fire video. It's a video we used to tweet all the time from Nick.
I said it before my show.
Now let's go to this video with David Sirota. And this is the progressive Democratic perspective, the Justice Democratic perspective that tries to talk us into the lesser of two evils every year. But the question is now is how can you make that argument considering genocide in Palestine? How can you make that argument considering the deal that the Senate is trying to make with the White House on immigration, for example? Like, we're literally going backwards, and you're still trying to sell the Democratic Party as the party for the future, as the party that's going to get those things done as they participate in rights being removed, including abortion. They are complicit with that right being removed federally. But let's listen to David Sirota.
Yes, I've had moments where I'm like, you know what, I'm out. Like, I'm done. I hate this. I can't look at it every day. I like it's so nauseating. It's so pointless. And I have those days. And and by the way, I don't begrudge people who say, look, I can't focus on this anymore. It's too depressing. I'm not saying like those people are bad. I get that impulse. But I also think and by the way, I also think just saying, oh, they're all corrupt. nothing good can possibly happen. And anybody who's trying to work in that system, you must be corrupt or at least stupid by trying to fix things because the whole system is corrupt. Sort of the black pill idea. Like there's a blue pill, the red pill, and the black. Like I reject that too. Like you're not smarter by just walking away. Like you're not better than people by walking away. And by the way, you're not better than people by saying, anybody who's ever voted for a Democrat is supporting the duopoly. Like, here's the thing, the Democratic Party is super corrupt. But in the short term, right, in the context, for instance, of the reconciliation bill, all you have right now is a Democratic Party and a Republican Party in Congress. Like you've got to try to get, like, there's a climate crisis happening. It's a ticking time bomb. Like you have to try to get this horrible, corrupt system to try to do the right thing, stipulating that it is horrible. It's corrupt. The game is rigged. All of that stuff is stipulated, but like walking away from it or just sort of rolling your eyes and saying anybody who's even trying to participate in it is stupid, dumb, and or complicit. Like I just reject that. Like there's too much at stake. It doesn't mean don't hold, progressives accountable, right? Like the squad, the progressive members of Congress, like they need to be held accountable to their promises to hold out. The corporate Democrats need to be held accountable. But the idea of just rolling your eyes and being like, they're all corrupt. Anybody trying to do any of that is fortifying the evil duopoly. Like, no, the other way to look at it is like, yes, the duopoly is pathetic and terrible and corrupt, but it's like what we have in the short term, right in the here and now. We're on a scientific, environmental ticking time bomb time scale here. And like, we've got to do anything that we can to make the system respond.
So that was hard to let all of that play because it's a lot of nonsense here. But let's go back and break it down. This is David Sirota trying to do his good sales pitch. He needs to stay with his day job, obviously, because this is a terrible job. He's a writer, by the way.
Yes, I've had moments where I'm like, you know what, I'm out. Like I'm done. I hate this. I can't look at it every day. I like it's so nauseating. It's so pointless. And I have those days. And and by the way, I don't begrudge people who say, look, I can't focus on this anymore. It's too depressing. I'm not saying like those people are bad. I get that impulse, but I also think like, and by the way, I also think like just saying, oh, they're all corrupt. Nothing good can possibly happen. And anybody who's trying to work in that system, you must be corrupt or at least stupid by trying to fix things because the whole.
I agree with that. And he further goes on and says, you're not better than somebody who supports. I beg to differ. I absolutely view myself as a better person for not voting for Genocide Joe. I absolutely view myself as a better human for not voting for terrible Trump. I absolutely view myself as a better person than anyone voting to prop up either one of these corporate parties that's not doing anything for the worker. I absolutely believe I'm better than that and better than anybody who participates in that. And that includes some of my family who participates in voting for the Democratic Party, including them. I'm better just off of that, just off of not supporting a genocide, just off of not supporting a racist in Trump and or Joe Biden. So only people who are, let me just not say that. Let me go get back to the video.
The whole system is corrupt. Sort of the black pill idea. Like there's a blue pill, the red pill, and the black. Like I reject that too. Like you're not smarter by just walking away.
What he describes as walking away, they're framing it as you are walking away and not that the system has left you a long time ago. So you go to a phone booth. Now take me back. I'm going back. Phone booth. When you used to have phone booth, you go to a phone booth, you put money in, you dial the number, and nothing happens. Nothing happens. David Sirota saying if you wait and nothing happens and then you leave the phone booth, you're walking away. Not that the phone booth did not work for you. That's what David Sirota is trying to frame this as if you gave up, as if you can call it giving up after you've given this particular strategy a fifth try. We tried it in 16, Tried it in 20. Tried it with a Barack Obama in 12. I'm sorry, in 8, in 12. Because remember, he was presenting himself as a major leftist, as a populist. Turned out to be a damn liar. So you said it in 8, you said it in 12, you said it in 16, you said it in 20. You said it in 2000 because of George W. Bush. So after all of those instances, the W election, the 2 Obama elections, the first Trump election, I'm sorry, that was the first Trump election. But let him continue and I'll break down more.
Like, you're not better than people by walking away. And by the way,
yes,
you're not
I
better
am.
Than people by saying, anybody who's ever voted for a Democrat is supporting the duopoly.
Not anybody who's ever. You see how he's moving the goalposts? The critique is you doing it now, and then he tried to include anybody ever. That's not the point, because typically somebody who's even telling you that, like a me or a Nick, used to vote Democrat. So it's now. Now let me get back and let him make his point.
Anybody who's ever voted for a Democrat is supporting the duopoly. Like,
yeah, anybody who's voting for the Democrat now is supporting the duopoly now.
Here's the thing: the Democratic Party is super corrupt, but in the short term, right, in the context, for instance, of the reconciliation bill, all you have right now is a Democratic Party and
they're super corrupt. All you have right now are super corrupt parties, and what? You need to pick one of the least super corrupt parties?
Republican Party in Congress. Like you've got to try to get, like, there's a climate.
Like he has nothing else. You notice he had nothing else? There's no other argument here. There's nothing to say about the Democratic Party. So what does he do? Climate change, climate change, climate change. And what did Joe Biden do with climate change? The IRA is not a climate bill. Oil permits, he's giving them out like Oprah's giving out cars. So what are you talking about? The climate crisis. The person person that you advocate is doing worse, doing more against climate than not. The drilling plan that what's his name? Joe Manchin has been wanting to do for years, that finally got through on one of the deals that they set up. Willow project approved. So you can take climate off of your list of arguments, sir.
Climate crisis happening. It's a ticking time bomb. Like, you have to try to get this horrible, corrupt system to try to do the right thing, stipulating that it is horrible, it's corrupt, the game is rigged. All of that stuff is stipulated. But
how do you then participate in a horrible, corrupt, rigged system? People with college degrees, the professional managerial class, are telling us that's a good idea.
But like, walking away from it, or just sort of rolling your eyes and saying anybody who's even trying to participate in it is stupid, dumb, and or complicit. Like, I just reject that.
So you're stupid, dumb, and complicit with genocide if you supported Joe in 2020. You can't walk away from that. Like Ron was just saying the other day in stream, this is not a la carte. You can't say, oh, the stuff he did is good, I take credit for that, but the other stuff I disagree. No.